You're listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, where you get valuable information you just can't find anywhere else. To thrive in today's trying times, you need the Financial Survival Network, now more than ever. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and get your free newsletter and gift. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.
And welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network, watching it as well, I hope, on YouTube for as long as we're going to be there. And no secret, these are tough times, but don't worry, your Stimmies are on the way. I don't know if you heard the story, but there was a fight between a family and who was going to divvy up the Stimmy check and how much each were going to get. And evidently one member of the family wasn't pleased with the distribution, which probably means he wasn't going to get any because he didn't deserve any. He blew 3 members of his family away. So,
including a 7-year-old child.
Sick. I didn't want to get into that, but now he's going to be in prison and he won't even be able to use his Stimmy to buy cigarettes because they're outlawed in prison now. I mean, I don't know the brilliance behind that, but maybe he can buy more matchsticks or drugs. I don't know what he'll buy, but we got 1.9 trillion in stimulus, additional stimulus coming. It's always a bad idea, and especially now it's a bad idea. And then we got infrastructure coming, tax increases. What are you supposed to do if you've been fortunate enough to keep your small business going? Well, how do you keep it going, and how do you make money off of this stuff? That's really the question. Our good friend Naresh Vissa is with us again. And Naresh, it's an amazing time to be alive, as a friend of ours always says, but it's also a time where you really need to wear that night guard to bed for your teeth, because I don't know about you, but I've been grinding my teeth a lot over what's going on. Hey, any questions or comments for Naresh, just send us an email to kl@kerrylutz.com. So that's a lot on the plate there, but let's start with the stimulus porculus bill, which is probably not going to do any good for anyone.
Well, first off, talking about the story that you brought up, that individual, I believe, got his stimulus check. He just wanted more. He thought he was entitled to more. And this is a cradle to grave mentality that much of the country, I think now people say 50%. I think it's a lot more than that, because now business owners have gotten used to free money through the PPP and EIDL programs. So I'd say at least probably close to 80% of the country has mentally gotten so used to being in that cradle, sleeping in that cradle, and having grandma and grandpa come and pick them up and give them their stimmy money. I think it's very bad for our country. And you know that once the House and the Senate are flipped, the entitlements, the stimulus, it's going to be pulled back, and there's going to be a major problem. People are saying, oh, we need this 1.9 trillion stimulus to stimulate the economy and to get people back to work. No, I think we need to pull the punch bowl away in order to get people back to work. And look, stimulus, all right, that's fine. I'm okay with it. But like I said, exactly. It's temporary. Every year you can't expect a stimulus. And I think there's going to be another one next year, because it's going to be a fully Democratic White House, and Senate. So we can expect another $2 trillion. I think from $1,400 payments, I think they're going to go up to $2,000 payments next year. So it has become a lifeline that people are dependent on and that they've gotten used to. It's just expected now. Oh, I'm going to get a few, extra $1,000 here and there. And that's terrible for society. It's terrible for a capitalist society. It's just a very, very poor mindset of, I don't need to go out and work. I don't need to work. I don't need to worry about my health. I don't need to exercise. I can keep doing what I'm doing, and Medicaid's going to pay for all my health problems, and the government's going to pay for my housing and my food and my EBT cards and my smartphone. It's terrible. When it was like this, when 30 to 40% of people were on the dole, it was like, okay, this is manageable. But if we start seeing upwards of 60 to 70% of people on the dole, it's terrible, terrible, terrible for society. And the gap between rich and poor is only going to become bigger and bigger. and the country is going to become even more divided, which is why I do think sometime during my lifetime, we will have a state secede from the Union.
Hey, well, you reminded me of something when I was listening to you, and Governor Weld, when he was governor of Massachusetts, Republican governor in a as blue a state as it gets, said that the safety net should be a net and not a hammock. And the welfare state has turned into one gigantic hammock, and everybody's just hanging around. I'll tell you, I got some of it myself because for the simple reason I said, I'm paying the taxes on this,
Yes.
and not only that, but I'm going to pay for it again in decreased purchasing power of my currency units, AKA inflation. So I'm taking it, and you never know, I might actually need it at some point. And it did come in handy at the darkest moments, but it should be a one-shot deal. It should not be a lifetime lifeline. And that is what it's coming out to be, a permanent fixture of American society where everybody gets a piece of the pie. The only thing is that less people are making that pie, and it's going to wind up making everybody poorer, but they just can't understand it because the rich are not going to pay more taxes. Yep. That we know. It's never happened. It never will happen. You could raise their rates to 90% like they were during World War II over a certain amount. It's just not going to matter.
You could even get rid of the 1031 exchange, which has been brought up in 2022. We'll see if they're able to do that. I don't think they'll be able to do it, but the rich will always find a way to avert paying taxes. And by wealthy, by rich, we're not talking, tens of millions of dollars. We're talking families like the Biden administration talks about, families who have a household income above $400,000. They're looking to increase the tax rates for them. And if you live in New York or California or one of these socialist states, you're going to be paying upwards of 60% in taxes. That's if you include the state tax, a local tax, a county tax. If you own a home with a property tax, you're 60% gone if you live in one of these socialist states. But you bring up a point about inflation. And regarding free money, look, I'm not saying don't take free money. Absolutely. I got free money last year. And if the government's going to give you free money, take it. Why wouldn't you? It's free money. But at the same time, understand the repercussions that are happening and why you're getting the money in the first place. So my business actually somewhat declined last year. And that's why I was given free money. And I'm hoping to get more free money. We'll see if I qualify. But that was a direct result, I think, of the lockdowns, of government intervention and stepping in and saying, you are an essential business, you are not an essential business, and that's affected the free market. On top of that, when it comes to, I personally have had some issues regarding improper tax filings and other things when I was living in the socialist state of Maryland. So I had to pay thousands and thousands of dollars in fines and late fees and interest. So I kind of took it as, okay, I'm getting this money from the government that they're kind of paying me back from the issues that they did not bring up to me when they were issues. Instead, they contacted me 7 years later saying, hey, you actually owe this much amount of money. And because 7 years has passed, we're going to tack on all this extra interest on top of what you owe. And if you don't pay it, then we're going to charge you with a crime and send you to jail, maybe even prison. So, it's kind of like if the government comes in and runs their car through your house, and now you've got this broken house and this car that's in your house. You don't have a livable house. Well, of course, the government created that destruction. They created that damage. They damn well better pay for all those damages and rebuild your house. That's essentially what's going on with the free money. But talking about inflation, look, there is going to be inflation in certain asset classes. I don't know if there's going to be this hyperinflation that you cover on the show that many of the pundits think that there's going to be. I don't know if gold's going to go up to $3,000 an ounce, $4,000 an ounce. I do think Bitcoin's going to reach 100,000 by the end of this year. That was my prediction before the year even started. So I am bullish on crypto overall. But with that being said, inflation, if you own assets, so if you already own real estate or stocks or an asset that is going to skyrocket due to inflation, you're in good shape. So if you already own real estate, you owned it pre-pandemic, let's say you bought it in 2019 or before, or if you own stocks 2019 and before, you're already ahead of the game because all of those have appreciated significantly. Real estate values are up more than 10%, at least in the single family space. Stocks are up. Stocks are up close to 80% since last year's low, exactly a year ago, nearly 80% since that low. And so as people get more free money, what are they going to do with it? They are going to invest in stock market through Robinhood. They're going to invest in GameStop. They're going to invest in Bitcoin and crypto. Anything that's on Robinhood, they're going to get into. And then the wealthy are already jumping into real estate. And that's why there's a severe lack of inventory and home values have gone up. Interest rates might be low, but there still aren't good deals because the asset prices have gone up so much in the past 8-9 months.
Yeah, I know. It's been absolute madness what's been happening. And really, there's no end in sight. And the shocking thing is that that really we haven't seen the major inflation yet, but the real estate market has just gone nuts. And I'll tell you, I just bought a house recently, went to contract on it. And now I'm just watching the thing appreciate daily. I don't think I got a great deal on it, but I think I got a pretty good deal on it. And, it's pretty amazing. I would have never believed that this was going to happen.
Don't just survive, thrive. The Financial Survival Network.
Arcana Corporation is on the verge of bringing the world's highest grade silver mine into production. The Revenue Virginius mine in Colorado has proven improbable silver reserves grading nearly 37 ounces per ton silver with an all-in sustaining production cost of only US $8 per ounce of silver. The mine is fully permitted with infrastructure already in place, and the company has announced they plan to commence production in 2020. Achieving successful production usually results in a significant upward share price re-rating on the Lassonde curve. Arcana trades under the ticker AUN in Toronto and AUNFF in New York. To learn more, go to arcana.com. That's AURCANA.com.
This is the Financial Survival Network, the information you need to thrive now more than ever.
Well, especially if you're in Florida, like I said, really, if you're in a tax-friendly, I hate to say it, but a red state, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, Texas. There are some blue states that have seen an influx of migrants. Pennsylvania, Colorado, which is considered somewhat of a swing state, but Colorado, Nevada. The asset prices, the real estate has gone up a lot in all these areas in a matter of, like you said, on a daily basis, because there's been migration here due to the whole work from home movement, due to mobility, the ability to move out of these socialist republics like New York City, San Francisco, and go places that are more beautiful, less crime, less taxes, et cetera. And so real estate, I think, is going to continue to do well. Like I said, if you've owned you bought the home recently, but if you owned real estate before 2020, you are in great shape as far as appreciation goes. And if you're making cash flow on top of that, congratulations, good for you. But I would recommend, if even if you don't own stocks or real estate, I would recommend, at least on the real estate side, I do recommend that you try to buy some real estate because it's an amazing investment. It's very tax favored. Even if you do reach that 400,000 household income mark, or if you are there, you can help shelter a lot of the tax that you would have otherwise paid. Real estate is the place to be, whereas stocks, you still have to pay the 20% capital gains tax if you sell the stock. And if you don't sell it, if all goes according to plan in the White House and on Capitol Hill, then they're going to raise that 20% capital gains to 36 to 38%, probably 38%. So you're going to be paying almost double what you would have paid previously. So you're forced to either sell immediately before that law goes into play, or you just have to hold and hold and hold until a new administration or a new Congress comes in, and who knows when that's going to be, and they do more tax cuts.
Yeah, well, with the deficit and everything else, really hard to accomplish all this. But, we just have to see how it's going to shake out. So we got a $2 trillion infrastructure program on the board. You know how that stuff works, right?
Well, it's going to pass. Look, this is definitely going to be the spending administration. The spend. That's what Obama did, right? Obama took over a recession, and it was spending. And looking back at Obama, I mean, that was like peanuts. The amount of money that was spent in 2008, 2009, 2010 was peanuts compared to what they're spending now. I mean, I remember Obama passed I think it was an $800 billion infrastructure plan. And that was like, oh my God, that's so much money. How are we going to pay for it? And now all of a sudden we pass a $2 trillion stimulus, and then we're looking at a $2 trillion infrastructure bill. That's just in 2021. I guarantee you in 2022, there's going to be a lot more to come, because that's election season and folks in DC need to be reelected. So more free money. That's a lot of spending that's going to be happening. But I do think, regardless of who's in the White House or on Capitol Hill in 2022, 2023, I do think it's going to cut back in come 2023 or so, because that's just, you can't function as a capitalist, functional, free society if you're constantly, like I brought up earlier, if you're constantly coddled by your grandparent, who is the government.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And the paternalistic government, that's Gerald Ford said it, but others before him, the government that's big enough to give you everything you want is big enough to take away everything you have. And there's a double-edged sword here, and loss of freedom. The loss of freedom that we've seen in the past year is just totally shocking, Naresh. And really, when you look at how we unwind all these restrictions, it seems like most of the politicians, especially in states that are not red, put it that way, they have no intention to ever end any of these restrictions.
They're going to keep taxing more. They have to. So the 1.9 trillion stimulus, okay, people think, oh, this is great because it's going to put money in people's pockets. Look, if you were to divide 1.9 trillion divided by 330 million, and you get that number, it's somewhere close to $40,000. That's how much they could have given to each person. $40,000. So why is it that they're sending out $1,400 instead of $40,000?
Yeah, where's all that going, huh?
Well, the reason is because exactly it's going to pork, it's going to all sorts of other projects, like bailing out these bad, poorly run states, poorly run cities, places like New York City, Chicago, Detroit, Baltimore, Maryland, all of California. They're getting bailed out through this stimulus package. So anyway, I did the quick math. So 1.9 trillion divided by 330 million is actually close to $6,000. But if you were to divide it by the number of people over the age of 18, so who are adults, then you get closer to the $40,000 number. And so the politics aside, $1,400 is not going to do anything for anyone. It's going to pay 1 month of rent, maybe a few groceries here and there for a family. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be gone within 2 weeks. That $1,400 is going to be gone for anyone who's received the payment. And then it's on to, okay, I can't wait until 2022 for the next stimulus payment, which is going to be $2,000 this time around.
Oh, yeah. There's no end in sight for sure. So basically, you can buy real estate. They've made it real difficult for small business people, certainly in the blue states. And when you notice New York State now, has a supermajority in the legislature, so there's no stopping whatever they decide to do. And all they want to do is raise taxes and raise spending. And as it is, people are running for the exits.
And defund the police.
Yeah, oh, well, of course, that goes without saying because it makes so much sense. And then California, Illinois, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, they're all the same. They're all attempting to do the same thing. And the results are obvious. Just look in Florida, all the people who are literally pounding down the doors to get here. Eventually, they're going to have to stop people from coming into Florida, not because they have COVID, but because we just don't want any more people here.
Well, it's great for real estate. More people coming in, the more your real estate's going to go up, the more my real estate's going to go up. But like you said, I hope these people who move down here, they voted for terrible policies when they were up in New York and California. And I hope they don't move down here and vote for those same policies. It would make, that's what my major concern is. And as long as we can keep up the no state income tax, the freedom, the no mask mandates, keep the number. Look, I have the numbers right in front of me as far as the COVID-1984 death count goes. The top 5 states, as far as just states that have done a terrible job in order. Number 1, New Jersey. Number 2, New York. Number 3, Massachusetts. Number 4, Rhode Island. Number 5, California. These are adjusted per capita and based on death, not based on cases, but based on death. All 5 of those states, except for Rhode Island, you mentioned in as far as taxes go. Why is it that these high tax socialist states also have done a terrible job dealing with the pandemic? Whereas Florida is number 28, second highest concentration of elderly in the country behind Maine, one of the top 3 most populated states in the country, more populated than the state of New York. And wow, these horribly run states that got billions of dollars in funding from this 1.9 trillion stimulus bill. They keep killing off old people. They keep killing off young people through their crime. I mean, it's ridiculous how many people are shot. I mean, the story that you brought up at the beginning of this interview, that was not in one of these horribly run states, but the gun violence where guns are banned in these states is out of control. I mean, we're talking at least 30 to 40 people shot every weekend in each of these, not even states, in cities, in Boston, in Chicago, in New York, in New Orleans, in Detroit, and all of these places. The more killing there is, the more death there is, the more they spend on nothing, the worse they get, the more money they get through these stimulus. It's ridiculous.
Oh, it is a shocking state of affairs for sure. And I was talking to somebody who had a distinctly non-libertarian viewpoint about all this. And I mentioned to her, so what do you think of Governor DeSantis? And she turned her nose up, in disgust. I said, and she's in Florida, part-time Florida, part-time New York. I said, well, let me ask you a question. Who would you rather have running the state of Florida? Would you rather have DeSantis, or would you rather have Andrew Killer Cuomo? And crickets, Naresh, crickets. She wouldn't answer the question because we both knew the answer. And that's what it comes down to when you keep voting for these people. Guys like Comrade de Blasio, eventually you get what you deserve. And
Comrade de Blasio is shooting for that governor spot. That's why he's going all in.
He doesn't have a prayer. Everyone despises him. He has as much chance of winning governor in New York as he did winning presidency. Well, anyway, we've got to wrap up now. Naresh, where do we find you these days on the web?
NareshVissa.com. That's NareshVissa.com. And if you want to find out more information about my online and digital marketing agency, KrishMediaMarketing.com, KRISH, KrishMediaMarketing.com. Check out all the services we offer in the online and digital space.
All right. Excellent. Always a pleasure. And if you got questions for Naresh about anything, just send us an email to kl@kerrylutz.com and make sure you sign up for the newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Just click the button and you'll get our newsletter, which is going out tomorrow. Naresh, always a pleasure. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure as well.
Thanks for listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, your solution to today's trying times. For the latest, go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.